Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass. Thank you for watching this Ag Forecast brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. Our software gives growers the insights to make the best decisions possible about their operations. Let's take a look at the last 72 hours of total accumulated snowfall, which is what the color coding on this map shows. Now, due to a huge ridge out west, the entire western part of the United States has really been rather dry over the last week or so. But as you get over toward the eastern half of the country, we've had two big systems both tied together that have really made for some interesting weather. First, let's talk about the snowy forecast in Thursday's update that kind of come through the big parts of the southeast here, but stretch all the way back towards Texas. And what's amazing about this map is it shows us we had snow accumulating all the way to the southernmost tip of Texas. And look at this, it's all along the Gulf Coast here. Some of these folks have not seen snow in this part of the country for, well over 10 years. But I want to take you right now to Houston. This is a picture posted by Corey Howard, amazing picture showing you when Houston was covered in water from Hurricane Harvey. We can see that the French Street sign here clearly submerged, and this is the same sign with some snow right there on the stop sign. So just incredible to see the difference that a few months has made in parts of Texas. But as we get back to the map here, we can see that some big-time snow fell in parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and getting into the mountains here in the southeast. And this caused some major problems down here in Atlanta and points around there. But if you get over toward the Great Lakes, because of that big upper-level trough feature, we've had the lake effect snow machine, as we like to call it, really going. And if you are a big NFL fan and you're watching some football on Sunday, you may have seen this coming from the Buffalo Bills, Indianapolis Colts game. Big fat snowflakes here associated with that lake effect snow really dumping down on these folks. So I just want to show you some recent weather that I found of some significance. But let's get on now to what we're expecting to start off our week. Getting into Monday, the big concern is across the Great Plains. We have some high wind warnings that are out, red flag warnings as well that are up because it's been very dry through this part of the country, and we're going to have some pretty strong winds all associated with the overall flow pattern of the atmosphere, which we're going to look at in a few moments here. But again, that's our big feature kind of going on right now in the center part of the country. It's going to be some strong winds to start off Monday. Now, the overall flow of the jet stream is still locked up into this high over low pattern in the western United States. And as long as it's like this, a lot of warmth builds out here. It's very, very dry, which is why these fires keep going in California. And because of that warm air that's pushed in this ridge all the way up into Canada, we have a deep plunging trough here that's sitting over the Hudson Bay and Great Lakes. At least that's one of the big reasons why it's there. And this is, we're kind of wondering how long this pattern is going to stick around. It's going to have some pretty substantial staying power. And as long as the flow looks like this, what does it mean for kind of the western half of the country versus the eastern? So let's take a look at that in terms of the overall flow of the jet stream here by watching what we call the 500 millibar height anomalies. And basically, we just look at this map for troughs and ridges. Now, this just animated out all the way a day past Christmas. And I don't know if you were kind of paying close attention, but we tend to not really get rid of this deeper trough feature here that's sitting, over the northeastern part of the United States, Great Lakes, Hudson Bay. But what will be interesting is I play this again, well, to see basically how far to the east we do get some warmer air at times, and when we can start to get a trough that will kind of come through this pattern that might possibly kick off some interesting weather for the middle part of the country. And that's an important thing to be watching this time of year. What it shows me right now, though, is that if you're watching this video in the far kind of eastern part of the Corn Belt or the northeast United States, looks as though the cold air has some staying power all the way through the end of the month. Now, this animation is showing you temperature anomalies every 6 hours, getting us through the 20th of December. If we just watch it again, what I really see here is kind of a split country. And because of the presence of that trough, we just keep seeing cold air kind of rotating around the Great Lakes states, rotating into the northeast. But, somewhere right along this dividing line, we continually see this kind of split where here we just get into Friday the 15th, for example. You can kind of see the western part of our major growing areas and the central part of the country are warm and the eastern part are cold. So it's going to be somewhere this dividing line kind of splitting the country in terms of temperatures. And that's why when we stretch this out all the way into the first week of January, so this is a 32-day average in terms of temperatures, we really see the cold established and kind of dominating here, Great Lakes states all the way through the northeast. But somewhere in through here, we're going to have this dividing line where there's near normal temperatures, where to the west of it, it's above average for that time period, and to the east, it is below. But overall, what I'm really wanting to start to see here and really be able to pick up on early is if we have any chance at bringing a big storm system through the middle part of the country. Short-term answer to that question right now is no, not really. What you just saw animated here was basically the next 10 days of accumulated precipitation. If I just kind of get you through the next week, we really don't see a whole lot going on here in the middle part of the country. That's just because the flow pattern is big ridge out west, deep trough over the northeast, and that just doesn't produce any significant weather for the center part of the country. We do see quite a bit of colder air kind of funneling across the Great Lakes, some more lake effect snow, a couple of clipper systems are going to go through here, so it's going to snow here. But we're waiting on getting a bigger system to come through the middle part of the country. We may have to wait all the way past December 20th to see that happen. And here's one time period I'm starting to get a little concerned about. Now, realize this is 10 days away, but we still got to keep an eye out. Notice the pattern making a bit of a shift. See this trough here? And this is, of course, coming to us from the European model. If this trough does, in fact, develop about 10 days from now and does swing through the middle part of the country, that will kick off a big winter storm system. So I'll be watching that closely. I'll keep you updated about it. Okay, all of that kind of needs to be put together and then put into context of this image. Here's your last 30 days of precipitation expressed as a percent of normal. And as I told you, I'll be doing all winter long. Got to keep you updated on the drier conditions in the center part of the country, because our latest drought monitor is clearly showing this area drying out with time. This will be an important factor to watch at the beginning of our next growing season. So we'll need to be watching that closely with time here. Okay, let's get into the rest of the world and really focus in on South America. In fact, let's just get right to South America. We know that we've seen some really strong monsoonal flow going across Brazil's major growing regions in through here. So Mato Grosso do Sul, Goiás, this area. As a consequence, the last 30 days, as we've built up this soil moisture, the last 30 days across this region has been near average, some locations slightly wetter than average. But as we've been discussing, maybe some of the concern over the dryness gets us down here into parts of Argentina and Brazil's southern growing regions and Uruguay, which is here. And what we're looking at here is, again, the last 30 days of percent of normal precipitation. And like Cordoba, a big corn producing and soybean producing province here, and cotton as well, in the center part of Argentina, and nearby points have been very dry. Now, as we kind of look at the next 10 days, the models are persistent with keeping the South American convergence zone going right into the northern growing regions of Brazil. But boy, Argentina, this is not a wet pattern. I know it looks like precip keeps coming in, but it's always late in the model runs that it finally arrives. And we can see that if we just get through the next 7 days, well, 6 to 7 days, this whole region of Argentina is forecast to stay dry, as are these southern growing regions in Brazil. So we've got a drier pattern here while it's very wet, Mato Grosso, Goiás, Tocantins, and areas around there. So that's important to see. This is stress on the crop right now, and so we gotta watch that closely. Just want to let you know this same forecast is echoed in the ECMWF model. Very, very good agreement here, where we see the heavier precip in this region and some drier conditions as we get into southern growing regions of Brazil, Paraguay, and then of course down here in Argentina. So really got to be on the lookout for that as that continues to evolve. Now, we did get our latest updates from our long-range U.S. models, and while these dynamical models are an important part of our forecast, they're not the only part of our longer-range forecast we do at Agrible. I just want to give you their latest updates because a lot of folks will be looking at these maps. So here we are. This is January, February, and March precipitation anomalies, and we can see that the models are still keying in on a drier pattern starting to set up in this region, as well as continued drier weather in parts of Argentina and southern growing regions of Brazil. I will say this is a very La Nina-like precipitation pattern for South America, but I also want to say that model skill with the 8 models that go into this particular forecast has not been as high as we would like it to be, so we have to look at some other factors moving into our long-range forecast, and we're looking forward to getting some updates from the long-range European model. We'll combine that with some analog data and get you kind of a mid-month update here coming up in the next couple of videos with what we expect out of South America this year. So with that, I think I'll go ahead and wrap up this forecast. We hope you look forward to Agrible's next ag forecast coming out on Thursday. You get morning farm report for your operations. Click the daily email that shows you a snapshot of your field conditions each morning. Go to morningfarmreport.com. Sign up for a free account. Full grower accounts are free if you sign up for our Sustainable Yield program or for growers who work with 80 merchandisers. Look forward to talking to you again on Thursday. Thank you.